Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the first trading day of this month of November, so welcome everyone. Yep, congratulations with this first day of November, of course. But basically in this session, as always, and as always in every single one of my sessions, we're going to have a look at a few charts, a few instruments here, see how they're performing. But before we start doing that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay guys, so now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to quickly touch on is the FTSE 100. Now the FTSE yesterday was talking about this one, and I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this 7110 zone, which, as we can see, the index managed to comfortably break it to the upside and closed above it. So in a way, this kind of leads us towards this idea that we could potentially see some more upside here, and maybe even going here towards the 7190 or the 7220 zone, approximately there. Now the last one here was marked by the lows of the 11th of September, or so in a way you could say maybe the lowest point of September. So this kind of puts more emphasis on it, and if that doesn't hold, of course, it could be opening the path towards a test of this this upside support line, this long-term upside support line that has been running here since around the 9th of February, or basically the lowest point of February 2016. So quite an important level becomes that one. But for now, of course, all eyes are on this. All eyes are on these two key resistance levels here. Like I said, I'll repeat myself, the 7190 and approximately around the 7220 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. If this suddenly reverses back down here, this is going to place us in a more neutral zone here, because let's say for us to start examining much lower levels here, as you can see, I've got an arrow here drawn near the lows of the 26th of October. But to be honest, we do have the lowest point of March here at around the 6870 zone. So this area, this is what I'm keeping an eye on. Certainly this is a bit of a more of a conservative approach, I would say, because for those who are maybe more of a short-term trader, you could in a way look at a 4-hour chart here and potentially look at this area right here at around 6985 zone, so which acted as a very nice bouncing ground for the index on the 30th of October, from which it kind of pushed higher here and broke the broke this 7110 zone. So in a way, for the short-term traders, in a way you could see, like I said, you could keep an eye on this 6985 zone, because a nice good break below that could potentially lead towards a test of the 6870 initially, and then maybe this is where we're going to have a look at. We're going to have a look at that low here that we had recently, and that was approximately around the 6855, or even actually can draw it lower a little bit, 6850 zone. So just to kind of be more on the safe side. Yep, so you could in a way keep your eyes on that one as well. So, and if that doesn't hold, well, we could see this one rolling over further. But for now, from the very short-term perspective, we can see that the index broke its key resistance here, and now we could see maybe a bit more upside here. So be very careful here, guys, with this one, and always have your stop loss in place. Okay, let's jump into one commodity, or should I say precious metal, and that's platinum, that I really wanted to quickly show you guys now. Looking at this daily chart here, and looking at the lows that we had here on around the 16th of August. Since then, the precious metal continues to climb higher here. we can in a way draw this like tentative upside support line here, but or even if you want, you could start your line here just to mark this, but then again it's going to also become a bit of a more of a tentative one, so in a way we could just get rid of it and just not in order not to complicate things. But what we're going to keep an eye on, keep a close eye on, of course, is on this little resistance area that we're having here near the 500 and 850 zone. So approximately there, a nice good break above that could potentially lead this one towards a higher move here, towards towards higher levels, where we could then test the 860 area, which was also an important one to watch, because as you can see, it acted here almost near it held the price down here on the 9th of July, and also acted as a good support level here in the end of June. So in a way, this is the area that we're going to keep an eye on if we get a nice pop here above the 850 zone. And also, as you can see, the 860 is just slightly below the 200 EMA here on the daily chart. So in a way, it becomes quite an important level to watch here. So in a way, we could maybe hit the 860, maybe just overshoot it a little bit, maybe touch the 200 EMA and then come back before the bulls could regroup and maybe charge this one again. But of course, that's a bit of a long shot here, but for now, all eyes are on this 850 zone. Let's see how that plays out. For the bears, I would probably say you could, in a way, keep your eyes on the 824 zone here, marked by the lows of the 26th of October. But to be on a more safe side here, you could keep your eyes on this little area here at around 818 zone, so which was marked here by the lows of the 23rd of October. So a nice good break below that could send this commodity lower here. We could start aiming maybe for levels like 793. Certainly, we do have the psychological 800 here on the way down. So in a way, there are some good levels to watch, but to be honest, the downside is kind of slightly off the table for now. Let's jump into a few pairs now quickly. So yesterday I was talking about the EURGBP, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this, especially keep a close eye on this short-term upside support line and this somewhat medium-term downside resistance line. And basically, I was talking about this possible reversal here. Let me just quickly jump into a 4-hour chart. So this is what I was talking about. I was talking about this area basically that I was thinking it could potentially get held here. The rate could get held here, but as you can see, the pair comfortably broke it to the downside. The only problem is this is where I was talking about the downside, and I was talking about this level here at around 0.8815. Now, as you can see, it kind of acted as a very good area of support here. So at the moment, for me to get more comfortable, let's say with this downside, I would need to see a nice good break here, and especially a nice good close on the daily candle here, in order to kind of below that, of course, below that level, in order to kind of aim for lower levels. But for now, I'm very cautious here. Certainly, this is putting the pair into a more of a bearish zone here, but for now, still, this is a bit of a tricky pair, as we all know that, and we could see maybe some sort of like a reversal back to the upside here, where you could place the pair back above this short-term upside support line, and we could see this one just as a false breakout. And especially looking at this daily chart, I mean, look at this one. I mean, even though, yes, we are currently trading below that, but again, like I said, this is EURGBP that we're talking about, and we could see maybe this one reversing back to the upside. Don't forget, we have the Bank of England today, so maybe we could see some good reaction here in this pair. So yep, for now, be very cautious, and on the downside, keep your eyes on the 0.8815, and on the upside, still keep your eyes on this little level around the 0.8860. So if this suddenly reverses back up here and maybe moves back above this level, the 0.8860, then yep, the downside could be off the table. And like I said, the opposite would probably say with the downside here, because a nice good break below the 88.15 could potentially open the path towards much lower levels. Let's jump quickly into into the euro dollar. Now the euro dollar here is at a very interesting spot as well. So in a way, what we're seeing here is that we're getting a nice rejection near that 113 level that we were talking about. Well, I was talking about this one for quite a while, and probably most of you had this level on your radars. And let me just jump into a 4-hour chart in this one. As you can see, yesterday you had a nice bounce here from that level, just bang on exactly that 113, and from which it pushed back up here, and now we're aiming for this downside resistance line. Let me just kind of slightly adjust it a little bit. There we go. So we're aiming for that level now. So in a way, even though yes, it is traveling higher, we could potentially see further upside here, but still, nevertheless, we should be very cautious here. And because of this downside, short-term downside resistance line that could in a way hold the rate again, and if it does, and if it continues to hold and we start seeing rejections around this line, then yep, I mean, we could see maybe more bears stepping in again and potentially taking advantage of the higher rate and pushing this one lower. So for now, from the very short-term perspective, guys, certainly what we're going to keep an eye on here is, of course, the 113 level. This is probably, if we're going to be looking at the downside, then this is the conservative approach that we're going to take, and a nice good break below that could potentially open the path towards lower levels. And on the upside, again, we're gonna for us to get a break above this downside resistance line is not really going to be enough. What we're gonna wait for is a nice good move here above the 114.30, and only then we could possibly aim for maybe slightly higher levels, like the 114.95 zone, so which also could potentially coincide here with this 200 EMA shown as the black line on the 4-hour chart. And in a way, like I said, if this is going to continue traveling higher and starts breaking it, and while I mean by the time it kind of could potentially get here, this 200 EMA would coincide with this 114.95 zone. So keep your eyes on that one. Of course, for now, this is quite interesting, so then especially to see how this is going to continue further, if it's actually going to end up reaching this downside resistance line or not. But let's wait and see and be very careful here, guys. GBPUSD, certainly one to watch today. Looking at this short-term picture here, as you can see, we had this nice short-term downside resistance line taken from the 16th of October, which got finally broken, and the pair is now, it seems like, making its way higher. So we managed to break some key resistance levels like the 128.50, and now it's pushing. It seems that it wants to push higher towards the 129.20. So keep your eyes on that one today, of course, like I said. And we do, don't forget, like I said, we do have the Bank of England today. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. Keep your eyes on the 129.20. Let's see if that gets tested or not. Further acceleration, of course, could lead towards the psychological 130, but for now, let's just go step by step and see how this performs, and if it actually reaches the 129.20 zone. But for now, it seems that yep, it is quite bullish, and also, like I said, given the fact that it broke this short-term downside resistance line. If this suddenly reverses back down here, what we're going to keep an eye on is we're going to keep an eye on this little level right here at around 127.45, or you can even put it a little bit lower here, 27.40, because a nice good break below this downside resistance line and a nice good close below the 127.40 could potentially, like I said, lead this one towards lower levels again. So for now, the downside is slightly off the table, and let's aim for the 129.20 zone. Let's see how that plays out. GBPJPY, very quickly, also looking quite promising for now, of course. And it seems that it wants to continue pushing higher, and this is what we're going to look at as well. We're going to keep an eye on this 145.68 zone, marked by the highs that we saw around the 24th of October. So should I say the intraday swing high of the 24th of October, this just to be more precise here. And it's also not far from, well, around the 100 EMA here that we've got here shown as the green line. And if that doesn't hold, well, we do have this 200 EMA here as well that could potentially get tested. And if the pair decides to overshoot that, then keep an eye on the 146.30 zone, which was marked here by the highs of the 20. This was the high of the 24th of October, guys. So keep your eyes on that one. For now, judging by this picture, it seems more bullish than bearish. But let's say if this suddenly retraces back down here and moves back below the 145 zone, now this is could be an interesting spot here for the short-term bears, for the short-term sellers. So you could in a way see maybe this one retracing back down here towards the 144.35, and of course this is where we're gonna evaluate it again and see what it wants to do. Does it want to actually rebound from it and push back up again, or does it actually want to move lower? But for now, for you guys to keep an eye on certain levels to keep an eye on for today is the 145 still. So on the downside, of course, and on the upside, the 145.68, approximately there. So keep your eyes on that one. One more pair that I really want to quickly show you guys, and that's USDCHF. Now, looking at this daily chart, I mean, we can see that the pair had a really good, nice run here, breaking through these key resistance levels at around 1.0055 mark. So I was talking about this pair in one of my previous videos, and this is what basically we got. We had a nice pop here too. We didn't quite manage to reach the 1.01 area. Just kind of fell shy of a few pips from it, but now we're seeing a bit of weakness kicking in here, and that's kind of coming in line with the euro dollar and GBPUSD strengths. So we could see maybe this one traveling a little bit lower here, potentially testing this kind of tentative upside support line here. Let me just kind of adjust this a little bit here, guys. So in a way we could see a test of that, but this is where we could probably take a more cautious stance and wait and see how this performs around it. If it gets a rebound and pushes higher, that's wonderful for the bulls. But if this gets broken, then this is where we're gonna probably start looking at the downside here and aiming for these lower levels. But for now, be very careful, and it's at the moment it seems that we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside. And the last pair that I really wanted to quickly show you guys, and before I kind of run out of time, and that's Aussie dollar against the Canadian dollar. And yesterday I was talking about this one, and I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this downside resistance line, which finally got broken nicely to the upside here. And now we're moving above the 0.9365 area, as you can see here, and it continues to push higher. So what we're going to keep an eye on here, of course, are the levels, the nice good resistance levels around the 0.9430 and the 0.9490, which was marked here by the peak of the 26th of September. So very interesting pair, very interesting developments right now. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Okay, thank you very much for watching and listening, and I do apologize for running a bit of overboard here, but just wanted to quickly share with you these pairs, these instruments, and I hope you found it useful. And if you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, and that's 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British summer time. But for now, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and bye bye.